I have Arsenal Fans TV Extra joining me this evening to talk about the embarrassing results this weekend to Spurs. I've got Lee Gunner. Hi, Lee. How you doing, mate? Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Mems. Evening, Claude.
Evening, everyone.
Evening. And we've got Claude joining us for the first time on the panel on Arsenal Fans TV Extra. Welcome, Claude, to the show.
It's time to go. It's time to go.
It is.
Good evening,
guys. I've got loads and loads of callers been bugging me all day to do one of these shows because I've got a lot of angry gooners who are waiting to call up. I've got a call from Montreal tonight who's going to join us first. But first, I want to come to you, gentlemen, on the panel. Disappointing result. I just want to get your feedback on the game. Start with you, Lee. When I looked at the team sheet, I thought to myself, he's mixed it up a bit. He's dropped Holding. He's playing Gibbs. Bit surprised that he didn't play Holding, to be honest with you, and I was a bit surprised at the Giroud start. But what do you think he went wrong for us against the Spurs?
Firstly, starting lineup. I think that was. I mean, Tottenham have got the best defence in the league, Mems. Yeah, when you've got a lamppost standing up front that's got no movement at all, you're not going to trouble them, are you? When you play with Giroud up front, like we've seen umpteen times this season, when he starts games, you need to have midfield runners off of him. But that game at the weekend against Tottenham, I felt we were a little bit sort of don't concede, rather than let's go and nick the first goal, which is why I think Giroud was the wrong option. I would have played Welbeck. At least Welbeck what he makes up in skill, he puts in work rate, which is something Giroud don't do. He don't track back. He don't use his size to his advantage. Rob Holding was a massive disappointment for me being sat on the bench. Yeah, and I actually tweeted that out when I see the starting 11. I thought he was fantastic against Man City. Arguably the best player on the pitch along with Oxlade-Chamberlain. And to play a left-back who has scored 2 goals in his 2 previous games, to move him back to centre-back when you've got a centre-back on the bench is just mind-boggling. And then also I thought Aaron Ramsey as well. I was shocked to see him start, although I probably shouldn't have been because he is one of the favourites. But I personally would have gone with Coquelin. I know he got sent off there last season, I think it was. But he gets it. He gets what that fixture means. He'll get stuck in. He'll give you 100% determination and he'll try his hardest in that game, in every game. So I think it was a bit of a mistake in the starting lineup to start off with. How the game panned out first half, we were just getting bombarded down Oxlade-Chamberlain's side. I think that was due to Ozil not tracking back defensively properly, not tracking his runner. I thought the lad kept, I think it was Ben Davis. He was just overlapping Son every time, and it was a 2-on-1 with Ox every time. And I think we got away with it in the first half. And when we went in 0-0 at half time, I thought, well, blim it out. We've got away with one here. We can't play that badly again second half, can we? And yet again, another fantastic team talk from our great leader. And within 10 minutes, bang, bang, we're 2 goals down, 10 minutes into the second half. And it was a shambles, Mems, to be honest with you. I mean, the players just looked like they didn't want it. Tottenham's players were first to everything. And it was quite sad to see, really. I mean, I think that's the first time in 8 years we ain't scored against Spurs in the North London derby. So, that sort of tells its own story, really. I can't remember any gilt-edged chances we had. We had a shot from Ramsey, which was half decent. Sanchez flicked one wide from about 20 yards out. Other than that, Lloris didn't really do anything, Mems. Yeah, and on another day, if Ali puts that one in, he missed from 1 yard out. Eriksen hits the bar from 3 yards out. They could have had another penalty when Sanchez handballed it. We could have been sitting here now on the wrong end of a 5-0. And
Check had a decent game, didn't he? I know, like, he's got a bit of stick for not saving the penalty. He's never saved the penalty since he's been at Arsenal. But to be fair credit to Peter Cech, weren't for him because, like you said, it.
To be honest, I think he was the only one who can come off of that pitch with his head held up a little bit because he made some fantastic saves, especially from Vertonghen. I think there was another one from Wanyama.
Yes.
That, you know, he made some very, very important saves. I mean, not that it meant anything at the end of the game, but it kept it from being a cricket score and even more embarrassing than it actually was. So it's a tough one, Mems, because we played so well against Man City. Yeah, and I expected a Man City second half and extra time kind of performance against Spurs, but you know, we've seen that type of performance time and time and time again this season. And you know, it's when I look at it and I look at the squad of players and I look at how we set up, I see something the other day that since we've gone to 3 at the back, we've conceded more shots on goal, had less shots on goal than we did in the 3 games previous to that with 4 at the back.
So it's not working. It's
exactly.
designed
it's
to
not
give us
working.
more strength. I mean,
Exactly.
the old system, Wenger said that he's gone 3 at the back to give us more assurance at the back. You know, because we're conceding
giving up
too
more
many goals.
shots.
That's an odd one. I mean, I'm going to come to our first caller because he's calling from Montreal. It's Montreal Gooner. How you doing, mate? How you doing?
Hello all. Thanks for having me on.
No problem at all.
Can you hear me all right?
We can hear you loud and clear, mate. We've just been talking to Lee Gunner about the game.
Okay, great.
Can you hear our caller?
Yes.
Yeah, loud and clear, Mems.
Yeah. Right, you got Claude with us on the studio as well, mate. What did you think of the game this evening?
Well, from the North London derby, just to give you a little rundown, I've been watching every game at 10 o'clock in the morning in Montreal. I'm originally a Slough boy living in Montreal for the last 10 years, so being an Arsenal fan in Canada isn't the most popular choice, but there you go. But what I thought, well, before the game, honestly, as the season's been going on and on, actually, the last couple of years, it's kind of sad, but I've not been looking forward to seeing each game. I'm like, sort of anticipating a so-so performance. After the game or before the game, I thought, maybe they'll be up for it, especially the last game at White Hart Lane.
Yeah.
Would have to sort of maybe say a few things to the players because, to be honest, I mean, see any leadership in that team, right? I don't see or imagine one of those players that'll be like, boys, this is the one. Let's do it for the fans.
Yeah.
Let's make them proud. I mean, we've had a bit of a crappy season for whatever reason, which we can go into another thing. But at least for this one, get some pride. And even people may not like what I'm going to say, but even people like Cesc Fabregas, which people hate or love or whatever, players like him, he was well up for it. You know what I mean? And him. And they're just all a bit of prima donnas, mate. I mean, they're just, I don't know. It's just Giroud's too busy thinking about his haircut. But anyway, back to the game, I mean, I knew Spurs have been flying, and it pains me to say it, but they're looking like a real solid team.
Yeah.
So I thought, we can weather the storm. But I always sense panic. I sense panic every time a team will blitz us, and Spurs are just so uniform. And one regarding the teams, why Rob Holding wasn't playing.
Lee said that.
He's been having a blinder. Why change something that ain't broke?
I don't know, mate. I mean, to be honest with you, we was talking about this on Twitter today. I mean, I mentioned Lucas Perez. Lucas Perez scores a hat-trick, disappears. Rob Holding has a blinding game at Wembley in the FA Cup semi-final and then gets dropped. I just can't understand some of the decisions that are being made, I mean, I agree with the point that you made. I mean, he's one of those players that loved the North London derby. Whenever we played against the Spurs, he was up for it, he was getting in their faces. It was so nice yesterday. I didn't see any of our players really that committed. So you made a really good point about that.
Yeah. I mean, and you talk about Jack Wilshere, and one of his mates was Cesc Fabregas. They still hang out now. You know what I mean? And when you're around that circle of mates outside of the training ground, I'm sure they talk about games. I'm sure they're like having a bit of banter and whatever, But I mean, like Rob Holding, every game he's played, not just the cup final, every game he's played, he's done well.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, what about giving the player a run in the team? Because I thought if Holding could play, at least Monreal could do a pretty decent job doing a full wing back.
Yeah.
Having Kieran Gibbs and Monreal,
it makes sense.
It doesn't work for me. No. And then the middle of the park, I don't mate. It seems like we're just ever since we lost Santi Cazorla, who was a different type of player. I mean, he has a great centre of gravity. He's not tall and strong, but he holds the ball really well. Yeah. Ever since we've lost him, I've not been convinced by any midfielder. Coquelin has been up and down. Ramsey, I feel sorry for the bloke. He's trying too hard. He's complicating things. Xhaka, I still think he needs another season or two to get into it. So,
right, mate. I'm going to take your call. Thank you very much for your call, mate, from Montreal. I'm going to take your call. I'm going to take your call to Claude. Claude, I called her from Montreal. Just said, yes, mate.
So that was a good call. Great call, by the way.
Cheers, mate.
But at the end of the day, he was going on about Kieran Gibbs, and I noticed that Kieran Gibbs and Monreal were arguing a lot during that game as well, and it looked like Kieran Gibbs didn't know where he was supposed to stand or where we were supposed to be going. I noticed that in the game a lot.
No, you're right, Claude. I mean, to be honest with you, I couldn't understand. The whole balance was wrong, Claude, for me. I mean, to me, it just like we were put out on the pitch, well drilled, they were well organised. Everyone knew what they had to do. Kieran Gibbs on the left-hand side with Monreal, it was confusing there. Oxlade-Chamberlain was struggling on the right-hand side. He was being doubled up, like Lee said. For me, the best player on the pitch yesterday was Son, who was playing for Spurs. He had so much freedom. I mean, with Davis, they were just coming at poor old Oxlade-Chamberlain. And we just seemed like we was unorganised. No one knew that their role in the team. Alexis and Ozil, what was their position in the team? Were they supposed to be supporting Giroud, but they weren't? Midfield, it was just a shambles, called for me. I mean, Lee's mentioned that the fact that since we've gone to 3 at the back, offensive and more strong. But let's be fair, Claude. I mean, against Manchester City, we was lucky. They hit the post and the bar a couple of times. You know, yesterday they could have really hurt us yesterday, Spurs. I mean, it could have been a lot worse than what it was if we're being fair, can't we, Claude?
Yeah, but also we had a lot more fight about us against Man City. We fought a lot harder, and also if you remember, you're going on about Perez not playing after playing well and then holding. You go back to last season when Callum Chambers, he came on against Leicester, I remember, and he was outstanding, and I'll never see him again.
Yeah.
You know, you can go back. There's loads of these incidents, loads of these things happen all the time. I don't understand it, but I don't know. Do you remember that, Lee, when Callum Chambers, he came on?
I do, and he wasn't seen.
And I thought he was all right. And you wonder why these players lose confidence. I mean, if they're playing well, if they're playing really well, and then if they're playing really well, and then they're not playing again, you wonder why their confidence goes. And that happens, and that's happened a lot to the Ox as well. I've seen him play really good games, and the next minute he's not playing.
But Claude, do you remember that happened with Joel Campbell as well? I mean, that Joel Campbell came into the team. He scored a couple of goals. He looked quite decent, and then he disappeared. He's done it with Perez. Like you said, he's done it with Callum Chambers. Now he's doing it with Holding. For me, Lee, to me, it seems like Wenger doesn't know his best starting 11.
I think that's part of it. I also think that there's certain players that he can't manage properly. Sanchez and Ozil, definitely, he ain't managing them properly because both of them have been crap for a long time now. Yeah, Sanchez, his form has dipped so badly in the last 2 months. I know he's still nicked a goal against Man City, which got us to the cup final, and I'm his biggest fan. I love the guy to bits, mate. Yeah, but he looks like a player that don't care anymore. Yeah, he looks around. I mean, there was against Spurs where he was proper shouting. I think you mentioned this yesterday, didn't you, Claude? He was proper shouting at Giroud because he wasn't pressing. And it's like, you know, he must look around that team and think, well, I'm the only one trying here. And it must be disheartening. But Wenger
this is why,
needs to manage him and drop him.
But this is
and drop Ozil as well.
Lee, sorry to interrupt, but this is why I think it's sometimes a bit harsh on Ozil because, you know, Mesut Ozil, when he was at Real Madrid, he wasn't a bad player, was he? And now he's come.
No, of course he was. It's the same for Germany.
Yeah, I know, but he's come here, and suddenly it doesn't look too clever. And I think he's got disillusioned. I mean, it's like if you're used to having steak in Madrid, as I said earlier, and then you've got beans and toast in London, it's a different story, isn't it? I mean, No, but this is the problem. This is the problem with the players you're playing with. If you've got ordinary average players in front of you who don't run off the ball, I mean, yes, look at Sunday with Giroud. He kept running wide. Why is he running wide? He's a centre forward. Why isn't he running through the middle? Do you know what I'm saying?
Do you know what really upset me about? Sorry, lads. Do you know what really upset me about Giroud on Sunday is not only just his movement and the fact that he was running out wide. There was a time where he went down on a 50-50 tackle and he started flicking his hand about. You know, like what he does, and he's laying on the ground. We've got a counter attack and we've crossed the ball and there's no one in the box because Giroud's too busy sort of trying to fake an injury.
Fanning around, yeah. So don't you think though, lads, right, that as a professional footballer, yeah, regardless of what players you've got around you, right? All of these players have signed for Arsenal Football Club, knowing what players are there. Yeah, so I do take your point on Ozil, Claude, yeah, and I do get it, and I do see where you're coming from. But at the same time, there's other players in this league, not Arsenal, but other players in this league that are playing in so-called lesser teams, lesser squads, that even when they've got worse strikers or wingers to play with, they still step up to the plate because they want to achieve something themselves and they want to make themselves better. I look at our team and I just see a bunch of players that just like, they don't care. That's how it comes across. That they probably do.
Yeah, but this is I'm sorry, Lee, but this is where I go on. How can I put it? He's come from a club like Real Madrid, who's got a winning mentality, and he's used to playing with winners. And he's come to ours with playing with players that haven't got that winning mentality, and are just happy to sit there and pick up their wages every week. And they've got the mentality to settle for 4th place every year. That's which is drummed in by the club. Get 4th place, and you're happy. This is what I'm saying.
You know what,
they haven't got that winning mentality to go all the way. That mentality. This is what I'm trying to say. And he's come from
this mentality where you come from, Claude, and you're right. It all stems down from not from just the manager, but from the chairman above. It all comes down from Stan Kroenke. Stan Kroenke's turned around and said that he didn't buy Arsenal to win trophies. Arsene Wenger is happy enough to finish in the top 4. The board don't put enough pressure on, and that is all filtering down to the players. No one gives a...
Well, Giroud's comments the other week about he's happy just to get 20 goals if he can. He don't care about a trophy.
It's a joke.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Mate, lads, I'm going to take another call in because we've got so many callers waiting to come on. So I'm going to bear with us. I'm going to take another call. Andy, how are you, Andy?
How are we doing?
We're not too bad, mate. We've got Claude with us and we've got Lee with us live on the show, mate. Thanks for calling in. What do you think of the game yesterday, mate? Or Sunday?
What can I say? Only from mostly what you chaps have been saying. I mean, I heard it right when I was talking to someone the other day. They were talking about Wenger and they were saying that he's basically now an analog manager living in a digital world.
Yeah.
It is a sad factor. And listen, I watch ArsenalFanTV. I watch Claude. I watch. Listen, I think it's a great thing. With this ArsenalFanTV. It's depressing at times, but I suppose that's what it's there for. I just feel the game was. We just ran away from it. It ran away from us, didn't it, really? I mean, from the start, the first half, we were pretty much, we were toe-to-toe, but we weren't really, you didn't feel confident, you didn't feel confident they were going to come out in the second half. I even had my little boy saying, if we don't come out in the second half and kick on, they will score.
Yeah.
And, it did happen. And unfortunately, this is a problem with Arsenal. I don't know what happens at half-time. I don't know what said.
Not much.
No, I don't know whether he sits there. I don't know what Baldy says. Was Baldy? I don't know. It's I don't know where to start with all this. I think in these, like we keep saying, it's not just Wenger now. It's obviously he's the main one. He picks the team, but at the end of the day, his motivation is not there anymore. I can't see it.
To be honest with you, Andy, how much motivation do the players need? At the end of the day, when they're playing for Arsenal, when they've got an opportunity to stop Tottenham from winning the league, United have dropped points, Man City have dropped points. These players, how much motivation should they have need? They shouldn't really need any, should they?
You're quite right, Mems. But the problem being is, and I'm sure Claude, and I don't know how old Lee is, but I'm at an age where when I watched Arsenal, even going back when you had proper centre half, you know, you had Adams and you had players in there. I know we've heard it all before. We've had players in there that were going at half time. They would give them such a going over, and you know they haven't got an English core. You know, they haven't got. You know, although Wiltshire, you know, he spends most of his time on the sidelines. He's a player that's been brought up through the ranks, and you know he's there to say, look, this game means so much to us and the supporters. You've got to give 100%. You know, Xhaka's not going to know about this. You know, players like I mean, Koscielny, he's not a captain. You know, you could see when he was being talked to by the ref yesterday or on Sunday, he was like up to the players, say, look, just calm it down. You know, play the game. Don't get him. You know, you can't see anyone tactically telling players on the pitch what to do. And that's the upsetting thing about it. You know, it needs a complete overhaul. And the upsetting thing is, I don't know how that's going to happen.
I mean, we talked about players and lack of leadership, captaincy. Do you put any of this, I mean, on Wenger's part as well? I mean, surely should some of that should be coming from the manager as well, shouldn't it, mate?
Absolutely. He sits on the sidelines and he sits with his head in his hands, and it's like he brushes his shoulders with it. You know, when you watch other managers, I know it's a new culture now, and you've got other managers coming through. You've got, obviously you've got Conte, you've got Klopp. You know, all these managers, you know, I don't know if you saw Conte, he was jumping on people's backs, you know, like, do you ever see, Wenger, the most we exuberated him was when in the cup final, when they up and they were doing the bouncy thing with him. It's not installed in the club at all to have, and I think that's the frightening thing about it. He doesn't see him getting anyone with a bit of character like that. I don't know. It's that, this Allegri, he's superb, but would Arsenal allow it? Simeone, would Arsenal allow it? I don't know. I don't know what Claude and think of that.
Andy, you're going to be a great call. I'm going to take your call to Claude. Claude, would you prefer Allegri or a Simeone in terms of Wenger, in terms of leadership? I mean, Andy's talking about sort of Conte, the way he was dancing that around on the touchline. It's a great call, by the way, Andy. You know, is that what we need? Do we need a manager on the touchline like a Klopp, like a Conte, like a Simeone, someone that's going to bring some sort of inspiration to the players? Someone that's going to, because we ain't got the leaders on the pitch. A manager who's going to be so much. I mean, because there was a picture yesterday I saw on ArsenalFanTV's Twitter where you've got Pochettino standing up on the touchline giving instructions, and Arsene Wenger's sitting there on a bench like that. Did you see that? I mean, is that what we're lacking, Claude?
I think it would help a lot. I think that tactically, I mean, he could change. Another thing that Allegri would do, he can change tactics during games as well. I didn't see that on Sunday. But I also think that we do need better players as well. I think we need 5 or 6 players. I'm sorry, I mean, so I don't think these players are good enough. I don't think just changing the manager is going to be the solution. I think we'll get better tactically, but I still think we need better players to challenge for the big one.
Okay. Lee, what do you think? I mean, do you think it's the players, or do you think it's like do we need an overhaul players? Do we need 5 or 6 players? Where's
both. I think that the problem with Arsene Wenger is he buys yes men. He doesn't buy anybody who's going to challenge him. Anybody who does challenge him leaves the club. Yeah, not just players, but backroom staff as well. Henri's a prime example of that. It's like, look at last season. I'll go back to last season. Do you remember when Sanchez? I think it was against Norwich, and he got pushed down where that cameraman sits.
Oh yes.
Not one of our players went over and started kicking off on that geezer. Mate, 10, 12 years ago, when Vieira would have had him up by the throat. Yeah, and I know that's the extreme, yeah, but when you look at Chelsea and when you look at Spurs, yeah, and even Man United, they're hard to beat. They're 25 unbeaten. Yeah. All of their managers, and Liverpool, all of their managers are up coaching. They're watching, they're doing, and they're looking, and they're sitting there thinking, or standing there thinking, right, he's not tracking his runner, and he'll get a dog's abuse from Klopp or whoever the manager is. You do this, you over here, and he's dictating the whole game, telling them what to do and inspiring them to get through that game and do whatever it takes to win the game. When you look at Wenger, it's just pure and utter arrogance. He sends his team out there. Yeah, this is my 11. This is our game plan. We only play one way. Our way is better than yours. And when it's all going wrong, oh, well, we were mentally shocked. Come on, mate. We've had this for years now, Mems, yeah? And, like, I look at it and I look at the other managers in the league that are above us, and even some of the ones that are below us right now, Koeman included. Yeah, if they had this squad of players, we'd be better than 6th in the league. That is a fact. Yeah.
Do you really think so? Do you think?
Honestly.
Do you think we had Koeman? Wow.
I think if Ronald Koeman was manager of Arsenal, we'd be top 4 comfortably right now, because I think he's been at a big club, played for a big club in Barcelona. Yeah, he's been at Ajax. Yeah, he's won everything as a player. Yeah, and he's done a fantastic job with Southampton, and now he's doing a good job with Everton. Yeah, they're only a few points behind us, Mems, and if you look at their names on paper compared to our team names on paper, we're miles ahead of them. Yeah, so the job I know we're having a shit season, but he's a very good manager. All the managers above us would have had us in top 4 comfortably now, and I think that a lot of the players need to go. I think that there's way too many players at Arsenal Football Club that are on big salaries that don't do anything. Mertesacker being one of them. Yeah, we haven't had a club captain. Exactly. Club captain, we haven't had a club captain start a game for 3 seasons. Yeah, there you go. Why? We've got no manager on the pitch, no leader on the pitch. Yeah. And then when they look over to their manager, when they're in a 0-0 with 55 minutes gone against Spurs, and they need a little bit of inspiration because Spurs are all over us, and they look over and he's sat there with his head down, mate, they give up. They give up. When they look over at Klopp and Conte and all that lot, mate, yeah, they look at their manager and he's inspiring. Do you know what I mean? And it gives them that extra 5% raise in their game and sees them through games.
No, you're right. You make some great points, Lee. I mean, I'm going to take another call. I mean, Curtis, have you been listening to what Lee Gunner's been saying about inspiration from the touchline and from the manager?
Yeah, I've been listening to it, mate.
Welcome to the show, Curtis.
Yeah, good to be listening to you, lads. I agree. I was going to say as well that Koeman would be the manager that I'd go for, because I think it's such a big job to do at Arsenal in terms of players we need to get rid of and bring in and everything that needs changing. We need a manager that already knows the league.
Okay.
Allegri and Simeone are both, I don't think either one of them would come to us this summer, to be honest. It's too big a job, and they're both at clubs that are doing well at the moment. But Koeman, I think, would come to us. And I think it would be an easier transition to bring him in.
So you're totally agree with Lee Gunner. You think with Ronald Koeman, with the current bunch of players that we've got, we'll be in a better position?
Definitely in a better position. I think he would get that extra 5-10% out of players. But I think he ride under Wenger. You know, he's not getting enough out of the players. I think if you look at our squad now, I think half of that squad could go. To be honest, we wouldn't lose sleep if half of that squad left.
Okay.
You know, we've signed players. You look at, we sold Van Persie, 4 or 5 years ago? Mm-hmm. You look over the years, we've bought Giroud, Podolski, Welbeck, Perez, 4 strikers. Probably they've cost, over 50 million for them.
Yeah.
And we're still coming to this summer saying, we need a striker. Or a striker like Lacazette or someone cost us this summer. He'd cost us another 50 million. So then you've spent 100 million replacing Van Persie when you could have bought Suarez for 40 odd million, or you could have bought Higuain for 40 odd million 4 or 5 years ago.
It's a great point, Curtis. I mean, to be honest with you, Curtis, but Olivier Giroud is technically still our #1 striker, isn't he?
Oh, I know. It pains me to hear that, mate, because I feel Giroud contradicts our whole game. We play fast football, interplay, and yet you've got a guy there, 6'5", with no pace. We're not like Everton putting crosses in from out wide all game, and you know what I mean? We don't play like that. It's like it contradicts our style.
Yeah.
You know,
so Curtis, where did it go wrong for you against the Spurs, mate? I mean, let's go back to the Spurs game. Where did it go wrong for you? Was it the team selection? Was it our players not caring enough? Was it Wenger? If you had to say it was one element that why we got beat against Spurs, what was it? Or are we just not giving Spurs credit enough that Spurs are a better team than us at the moment?
I think right now, as much as it pains me, I think Spurs are a better team than us. But you would say that the way we fought back against City from 1-0 down, and then a week later in the derby, you put in a performance like that. When we get beat, I always walk away feeling embarrassed. We don't just lose under normal circumstances and fight, and it's just, we weren't good enough on the day. You can hold your hands up if that happens, but you know, that was a big North London derby, and they turned up and they just didn't look interested. You're sitting there 2-0 down thinking, who's going to put that first challenge in that sets the tempo for the other players? And no one's doing it. Everyone's looking at each other. And it don't happen. And you look at Wanyama bossing our midfield and you think, we were linked with this guy. You know, he went there for, 10, 11 million. We've got Xhaka in there, 35 million. And we're getting bossed all over the pitch. Ozil's doing nothing. Ozil's kicked the door. And you think, well, the players on the pitch. You know what I mean? Like, where was the fight? I think Wenger got it wrong from the start. I don't know why Gibbs was playing. I don't know why Giroud was playing. Those two definitely shouldn't have played for me. Monreal's had 2 great games left wing back, and you put him centre back, and Holding's on the bench. Yeah, and Welbeck, I think, would have troubled their centre backs more than Giroud, because Giroud did nothing. I thought it was a disgrace on Sunday.
No, I agree. You mate, honestly, everything that you've said, I agree with. I couldn't understand the team selection at all. But surely, I mean, Curtis, so let's be honest. We're playing our North London derby. We're playing our rivals. They're going for the title. Surely our players, we can slag off Wenger all we want, but those players really should have put in the shift, and they didn't, did they?
And obviously earlier that day, both Manchester clubs had dropped points.
Exactly.
There was nothing more that you could do to inspire them. I don't think they care enough. I really don't. I don't see hurt players when they get beat over to the fans. The manager doesn't even go over to the fans. You look at Klopp and that when they win the game, even if they lose the game, they embrace the fans. They know how important they are. It's just, they don't care. I don't think they care. Okay. I look at so many of our players and I think, if we sold him, what other big club would want him? What other big club's team could he get into? Half of our squad, I don't think would get in any other big club. Okay. And you have to wonder, you know, Wenger's been at the club 20 years. It's like he can't spot a player anymore. You look at the last 5, 6, 7 players we've bought, apart from Sanchez, I don't think he's bought a good player in years at Arsenal, to be honest.
That's fair enough, mate. Claude, are you going to come in and respond to Curtis's call? Curtis, thank you very much for the call, Curtis. What do you think of Curtis's call, Claude? What do you think of Curtis's call? He says...
Another good call. What I disagree about the call there was that he has to be someone that's worked in the Premier League, or with Conte has proved that that you can come on from a different league to come in and do the job. Yeah, but I agree with him, and I was first when I was at the Lane on Sunday and announced Holding wasn't playing. I couldn't believe it. I was telling everyone what's going on, you know, and I couldn't understand that selection.
What about what Curtis?
That was a very good call.
What about what Curtis said about the divide sort of between the fans and the players? I mean, you see some clubs when the games are finished, the players go over to the fans and they give them a little round of applause. The manager sometimes. It doesn't seem to be happening over at Arsenal. I mean, what is there anything that the club can do to sort of?
We make a big thing about it, man.
Okay.
Thing about that, but if we were unbeaten in 30 games. If we was unbeaten in 30 games, no one would worry about that. I think we make too much of that, to be honest. I don't look if they put a performance in. I don't care if 2 players or 11 come over. If they put a good team performance, that's what matters. And if they show that they actually care on the pitch, that matters. All it's about coming over. I'm not too bothered about that. If we was unbeaten in like the Invincibles, we wouldn't worry about players coming over at the end, would we?
Fair enough. Cheers, Claude. I'm going to take another call before I come to you, Lee. Your next caller is Ace. How you doing, mate?
Yes, bro. What's going on, Lens? You right, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right, Ace. Thanks for calling the show, mate. You're live. We've got Claude. We've got Lee Gunner. You're live on ArsenalFanTV. What do you think of the Arsenal shambles this weekend against Spurs, our North London rivals? Where did it all go wrong?
Man, to be honest, I'm going to blame the manager, man. The manager got it absolutely wrong. Because the thing is, we could always blame the manager, but you know what I mean? Like, I feel sorry for the fans, to be honest, They're wasting all that money to come and see Arsenal, And what's he doing? He's not doing nothing, Mm-hmm. But let me get back to the point, Yes, what was it? Tottenham's game, Like, at the end of the day, Tottenham, this year, I have to say is a better team than us, man. I have to say it, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like,
they've got the best defensive record in the league, and it's going to be hard. And you don't, like, Arsene Wenger don't even get, like, to say, like, you know what I mean, like, put the players on, put this, put that, you know what I mean. And at the end of the day, we need different manager, man. It has to come from the La Liga. It has to come from Simeone, man.
What do you think about what Lee said earlier on that, and what Claude said, and what our last caller Curtis said? They would like Ronald Koeman because he knows the Premier League. You know, it's a bit of a safe bet. What do you think of Ronald Koeman?
Ronald Koeman's a good manager, don't get me wrong, yeah, but how's he going to manage Arsenal? You know what I mean? Come on, man. We're a bigger, I ain't saying nothing about Everton, but we're a bigger and better club than Everton. You know what I mean? Simeone knows how to deal with the Champions League. He's got the Champions League underneath his belt. And Allegri as well, he knows how to deal with the Champions League. We need to look at them sort of managers, not the managers in the Premier League. Because look at every other club, yeah? They're spending money, they're spending this, they're spending that, they're getting different managers in. Look at us, we've got the same crusty manager for how long? You know what I mean? How much can we get upset? How much can this go on, Mims? You know what I mean, man?
Do you know what? After Sunday, I really, as people know, I've wanted Wenger out for many years, and I've sort of been restrained over the last couple of months. But what I saw on Sunday, that was the line in the sand for me. I can't take it no more. You know, there was no passion there. There was no inspiration from the manager. You know, if Arsene Wenger is seriously thinking about signing a new contract, I have to ask why. What are you doing right now that you think that you can improve this club? Because we all know what you've done in the past, and it was fantastic. But that was 21 years ago. So I'm really fearful. If he signs a new contract, honestly, I fear for the future.
To be honest, like Alexis, all our big players are going to go, man. I'm being honest. All our players are going to be. They're going to go. They're getting enough of it as well. You know what I mean? Because when you look at Arsene Wenger's face, he looks like a broke man.
Yeah.
He don't know what to do. You know what I mean? He looks lost. You know what I mean? He's not supporting the fans. They're not playing for the badge, and that's what really pisses me off, man. You know what I mean? They're not playing for the badge. Yeah. Arsenal is a big club. We're not a small club. You know what I mean? And we're making our next door neighbours laugh at us. For 20 years, they've just come for 1 year and they started to laugh at us. What's that about?
You know what? Do you know what the most hurtful thing was? I've been getting text messages, emails, phone calls all day for people I ain't heard from for years. You know, for years, and then they've popped up out of nowhere and given me a load of abuse. You know what I mean? I was like, where have you been for the last 10 years? And then all of a sudden you're messaging me now. You know what I mean? So anyway, it is what it is. Ace, listen, I'm really grateful for your call, mate. You've been a brilliant call. Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
He's passionate, and he's saying that Arsene Wenger is crusty. I think he said, you know, he's lacking motivation. He's saying that's Arsene Wenger. Like my friend Claude says, you know, listen, I would like someone to come on this show one day and to genuinely build a case and tell me why they would like Arsene Wenger.
They can't. There ain't any. There ain't any reasons why anyone wants him to go. The only people that still sit online on social media accounts, and back him is because they're scared, of the abuse they will get, and they have to save face within their little crew of people, because for years they've been telling us how wonderful he is, and for years he keeps showing us how wonderful he isn't. And if they convert now, they're going to the dark side, Mems, and that'll lose face with a lot of people, wouldn't it? So, you know, I guess you're right. I told you so, because it's my club as well as everybody else's, and I want to see us win, mate. But I told you so. Do you know what I mean? And you know, it's at the end of the day, that guy. Can I just say, what a fantastic name, Ace. What a quality name. But he's right, Mems. None of them are playing for the badge. And do you know why I think they're not playing for the badge? Because none of them give a toss. It's a job. That's it. They see it as a job. It's not like 15, 20 years ago where you could have more interaction with footballers. Yes, we've got social media sites now, but a lot of these social media accounts of footballers are run by their agents. So you're never going to get a tweet back from them. And if you do, it's their agent. And it's just a generic tweet. Whereas back in the day, you could go down the training ground, you could meet the players, you could get your shirt signed. Now you go to Arsenal training ground, you get the big steward, the big security guard come out and tell you to bugger off their property. And to footballers now, I personally think that it's just a job. They don't care about Arsenal-Spurs rivalry. It's a job. They're going to work. Yeah, their job's to go and try and win a football match. They don't care what it means to us.
I'm going to bring Claude in. Claude, because you've been watching Arsenal a long time. You've seen a lot of North London derbies. Ever seen a performance as bad as that on Sunday?
Oh, well, Crystal Palace.
I'm talking about North London derbies. I'm talking about, Claude.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said the performance is bad. Sorry, I missed.
That's right, mate. In terms of North London derbies, in terms of what it actually means to the fans, have you seen a North London derby where the players have just not turned up?
Well, there was that one a few years ago when we lost 5-1 in the League Cup semi-final.
Yeah.
But not as bad. That was bad. But no, not really. I always... I mean, I'll go back to the 80s when Alan Brazil scored the hat-trick. I think it was a hat-trick. And they beat us 5-0. George Wood was in goal.
You're showing your age, mate.
George Wood. Oh God. But Claude, I mean, Lee's saying that the players don't care anymore. There's no passion there, Claude. I mean, what could we do as fans? Could we do more to inspire the players? Maybe it's us that we're giving too much negativity and we're not supporting the fans, the players enough. Do you think there's something that we can do?
You having a little dig at me there?
No.
Listen,
I won't do that, mate.
Our away fans are fantastic. They always get behind the team all the way through, and it's after the game. Yes, we all make our say, but I always get behind the team. The away fans are brilliant. It's the home fans that you've got to look at.
Yeah,
the Emirates.
I agree.
That doesn't help. I must admit, the atmosphere at the Emirates is shocking, absolutely shocking.
I agree.
Mind you, having said that, White Hart Lane, until they scored on the other day, that wasn't much good either. So,
touch on something before I bring in the next caller. I mean, Robbie got into a bit of grief outside the stadium. I mean, you was there. Did you get any grief, like when you was coming in the stadium or out the stadium? I mean, obviously, you're a bit of a well-known face now from ArsenalFanTV. Did anyone approach you and say anything that untoward? Because I know Lee Judge has got a bottle thrown at him, and obviously Robbie's had a bit of grief. Did you get anything?
Well, first of all, I was walking down. I thought I'd walk straight down the middle of Seven Sisters Road. I thought I'd walk down and just head down, and then I got a bloke come up to me, a Tottenham guy come up to me. Don't go further down there, mate. Do yourself a favour and walk back in the other direction. And that was a Tottenham fan. And then I went back to where Robbie and all the police were, where it was all going off. And then the police just took me. They said, "No, just get in." He escorted me to the van where Robbie was already in the police van, and that's it. And he took us to a road that wasn't far away from Broadwater Farm. So
lovely.
Brings back memories there, mate. So it was. But a lot of them Tottenham fans were actually. There was a couple of Tottenham fans that come up to me and shook my hand. So
nice
they're not all bad. They're not all bad, mate.
They're not all bad, no. They're not evil creatures with 3 eyes, are they? So anyway, listen, we've got to move on. We've got to take another call. And this is a friend of yours, Lee. It's Sam from Milton Keynes. How you doing, Sam? You've been on the panel a few times. Welcome to the show.
Evening, Sam.
We're a bit down, Sam. You know, we've had a few calls. We've had a few calls from Montreal. We've had a few calls from all over the UK. A mixed bag of opinions this evening we've had tonight, Sam. We've had Wenger not being passionate enough. We're getting Wenger getting the tactics right. We've had the players not showing any emotion and spirit and fight. We're missing leadership. Where did it go wrong for you, my mate?
Well, sorry, boys, but this isn't going to be a positive call at all anyway, to be honest with you.
I think it would be.
I haven't really got anything positive to say. I mean, looking at the game on Sunday, I mean, to be honest with you, it pains to say it really does, but I didn't think Tottenham got out of second gear. It's an embarrassing thing to me. They looked like they were playing in second gear. They didn't look like they were really trying. They looked at any point they could turn it on and then score past us. We looked lost. We looked defeated before we'd even kicked a ball. The team selection was just incredible. Rob Holding, to me, probably every time he's played this season, he's been fantastic. Probably one of the best in putting a fault wrong at all throughout the games he's played. He got dropped, and then Wenger moans about players that we're not mentally strong enough. And, you know, no wonder they're not mentally strong enough and all the rest of it. And we're all having a go at them all the time because he's knocking the confidence out of them all the time. What does this kid have to do to get a run of games? It's absolutely fucking dreadful. You know, he'll probably get injured now next week or the week after, and he won't play for the rest of the season. I mean, the tactics, the players didn't look like they looked lost. They looked Monreal at left centre back. We looked all over the show, and I have absolutely had enough now. I'm going Sunday to protest with everyone else because if he stays, we are going to end up a mid-table club, and all these top managers that have come into this league now have shown him up to be what he is, and that is a very, very, very average manager. I truly believe that he isn't the man he was. Everything's changed. Times have changed. Players have changed, and they're just again. I cannot see that team, that group of players digging in, working hard. You know, they've given up. They've all given up. They've given up, and we've been playing shit since Christmas. There's been no motivation from the manager. He's sat on his fucking arse, as per usual, while Pochettino's up blaring instructions out. As soon as you can see the goal, what's the best thing to do? Just smash it into Rosette. Just get it out. Get a bit of calm around the team, around everything. They looked like they were going to score 2 or 3 or 4. And honestly, it was painful to watch. It really was. We have, as I said, we have been shit. Apart from the Man City game, where I don't know where that performance came out of their arseholes, because I don't know where that came from, because I thought we'd get battered. But we can't go on like this anymore. If he signs another deal, we will end up a mid-table club, because there is smarter managers out there with better tactics. And I heard Lee say earlier about we'd be a top 4 club with any of the top 4 managers. I think we'd have won the league by now.
Really?
If I'm being honest, with any of them managers.
So you don't we've got the players. Sam, you don't put any of the blame at the players' fault.
For giving up and for not playing for him. It's a fault at their doorstep. But they are good players, mate. They're World Cup winners in that squad. There's players that, you know, have scored fucking hundreds of goals. Alexis Sanchez, Mesut Ozil, Olivier Giroud. They're just not being coached right. Last year, don't forget, Chelsea were absolutely having a stinker. They wanted to get rid of they wanted to get rid of flipping Hazard. They wanted to get rid of God knows how many their players. They were calling for blood.
Yeah.
Now look what's happened with a decent manager who's given them a new lease of life and basically said to them, forget about last year. You've got to prove what good players you are. And they've all done it. The Ozil's not a shit player. He does lack effort, and you know, but he's not a bad player. Not being coached right. Xhaka, Ramsey, they're not bad players. They're not world class, but they're not as bad as we are being proven right now. And that's because it all boils down to motivation, leadership, tactics.
No, you're
and,
right.
and basically that falls at one man's doorstep and one man's doorstep alone, and Arsene Wenger has got to go.
Mate, that's the caller of the night, and that's Sam, and I will see you, Sam. I'll be standing by your side, mate, for that protest. I'll see you Sunday. Thank you very much for the call, Sam. Brilliant call. Lee, I want to bring you in. Sam, very passionate. He's a top man. He's saying Wenger's got to go. He's saying that basically what Chelsea done with the same bunch of players, he's got the best out of Hazard, Costa, etc. You look at Leicester as well, Claude. I'm going to come to you in a second. Where they've changed the manager, and all of a sudden it's changed their season around. Is it just a simple case of bringing in a new manager and they will get at the best of players? I'll come to you, Lee, first.
Yes. I think a lot of the players need to look at themselves, mate. In my opinion, I'd get rid of half of them straight away. There's players there that are nicking a living, that are on stupidly high wages, that are never going to be good enough to play for this club. Players like Mertesacker, players like Gibbs. Gibbs is living the dream, in my opinion. He ain't good enough. Yeah. There's other players as well. I won't bother listing all of them. We all know who they are. but they're not good enough, and they're all on massive, massive wages. Yeah. So if you get rid of Arsene Wenger, for example, and say you sit Alexis Sanchez down and say, well, look, we've got Simeone coming in the summer. Yeah. We know you've got 16 months, 14 months, whatever it is left on your contract, but we'd like you to stay. We'd like to offer you a new contract. And then he has a conversation with Simeone. Yeah. There's a good chance he could stay.
Possible.
Yeah. Look at the way, look how ruthless Chelsea are in terms of sacking managers. They've sacked Jose Mourinho, their most successful manager, twice. They've sacked him twice. Yeah. Diego Costa flirted with China in January. Yeah. What did Conte do? Well, you want to flirt with China, mate? You ain't going nowhere, and you're fucking dropped.
But Lee, would you really want change every 2 to 3 years at Arsenal and this instability? Would you really want what's going on at Chelsea?
You say it's instability, yeah, but football's about winning, mate. Yeah. Real Madrid seem to change manager every couple of years. They're winning. Chelsea do it. They're winning. Bayern Munich have just won the league again after changing manager last summer. Yeah. They've won 4 straight titles. 3 of them with Pep, 1 of them with Ancelotti. They've probably won more than that. They've probably won with a manager before that as well. Yeah, at the end of the day, we're never going to see an Arsene Wenger again with a 20-year stint. Them days are long gone. Yeah, because the amount of money that's in football nowadays, owners, apart from ours, yeah, demand instant success. Every single set of fans in this country in top, not just the top leagues, but even the Championship. My little brother supports Derby. Yeah. He goes home and away watching Derby. That ain't cheap, Mems. He's paying 40 quid to go and see Sheffield Wednesday and shit. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, well, it's true, isn't it? Right? Listen, no disrespect to him, but 40 quid is a lot of money, yeah? Right? And the amount of money that's being spent by paying fans, the fans demand instant success. Yeah? And the amount of money the players then get paid, which is coming off of the back of what fans pay and sponsorships and so on and so forth, yeah? You know, I don't think we're ever going to see another 20-year-long manager. Yeah, ain't happening. Yeah, it's all about winning trophies, and Chelsea have had a better 10, 15-year plan than us. And how many managers have they had in that time? So you can only look at them and Real Madrid and the likes of Bayern Munich. They all get rid of managers left, right, and centre. They all keep winning. Because at the end of the day, the badge and the club is bigger than any one man.
Very passionately. Claude, I want to come to you. I mean, you've heard what Sam's got had to say. You've heard what Lee's had to say. What's your opinion? Is it a simple case of just changing the manager and things will be rosy, or do you think it's a complete overall players that needs as well, Claude?
I think it's a bit of both, really. I think you need a change of manager, you need a change of players as well. I was on the first protest, yeah, and I think it's and I agree with the protest. But the only thing I think about the protest, I think the more we protest, the more this manager is inclined to dig in. And
just to prove people wrong.
Yeah, I get the feeling that if the more we protest, the more determined and stubborn he's going to become to actually carry on, despite it. And I think so. I don't know. I mean, we've got to do something, but I just don't know whether it's helping. I don't know whether it's actually helping. But I was.
Sorry, Claude, I sort of cut you off, but I get a lot of Arsenal fans. I mean, obviously, I'm quite active on Twitter, and you know, I'm very pro the protest, so to speak. I believe that rather than moaning on Twitter, rather than people just doing, moaning about things, if they want to protest, then let them go and protest. You know what I mean? Rather than sitting in your house and moaning on social media, if you desperately want to change, then go and protest. And I think everyone should have that.
I agree.
That freedom to do so.
I do agree with you, Mems, but I just get the feeling with this manager that the more we protest, the more stubborn he is, and the more determined he is to stay.
Can I just cut in there, Claude? Sorry, buddy, mate. Do you think that that's his decision though? Because the fact that this has dragged on for so long, yeah, and I look at it and I think there's a divide in the board of directors. I think some want him to stay, some don't, because they all know where their bread's buttered with him there.
I agree.
Yeah, and they know that they'll be making money. But I don't think there is an offer on the table, hence why this has gone on so long. And every time he's been challenged on it, he starts throwing Champions League record at you. And I also think that the more these protests happen and the bigger they're getting every time, yeah, the club are going to look at it because with social media the way it is now, these shots get sent global within seconds. Yeah, this would be damaging to the Arsenal PLC brand. Yeah, so you know, yes, there's board of directors that want to keep him there, but at the end of the day, let's say, for example, I don't know, Citroen say we're going to pull the plug if he stays. Yeah, well, that's one sponsorship down the Swanee. We can't keep having all this bad publicity with the fans protesting and tagging us and all these shots being, we're attached to your football club.
Lee,
as soon as the sponsor pulls out.
Yeah, but number one, I actually believe it has been signed, Lee. I know what you're thinking. I actually believe it's been signed.
But doesn't it have to be? Don't they have to tell the stock exchange?
Yeah, they can say what they. You can have a contract there, but it doesn't mean you have to put the date on it, does it?
True. Yeah,
right?
very true.
You've got to be very careful. What you know, you can. There's no date going on that contract, so anything.
Why aren't they telling us, Claude? But if it's already signed,
I tell you exactly why they're not telling us, because they're waiting for the end of the season. They're waiting for everyone to calm down, and then the season's over. There won't be any more protests. No more protests to games. And once the season tickets are all renewed again, then they'll probably announce it.
Wow.
I don't think there's one available. I think they're waiting to see if he gets top 4 or wins the cup, and either one of them will save him. If he don't get top 4 and he don't win the cup, he's gone.
Do you think that's going to be good enough, gents? Do you think a top 4 finish?
Decision. No, it'll be his decision, though, Lee. It'll be his decision, Lee.
How can it be a football manager's decision? This is what I can't understand. How has that man got
to go on like this?
It's crazy. It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy because you should be held accountable.
If you look at the top tier football clubs in world football, yeah, none of them act like this. They act like top end football clubs. Yeah, we're the only club, and then we've got all fans from all these other clubs saying, "Oh, we'll show him a bit of respect. He deserves to leave on his own terms." We're not a fucking charity. We're a football club. Yeah, and I look at it and I say, well, hang on, he hasn't worked here for free for 20 years. He's taken a hell of a lot of money from Arsenal Football Club. Yes, he's given us fantastic memories, but there's been an awful lot of fucking bad ones along the way as well. Probably more bad than good at the minute, right? So when you've taken 100 million in wages, you ain't got no right to be telling us when you're leaving.
But let's be.
What I mean? That's not your decision.
Mems, I'll put it to you, right? You're an owner of a football club, yeah? You don't care about football at all, but your club and that club is making millions of pounds a year for you. And your dividend is going up and up and up, but you don't care about the football side. Would you keep Would you keep that manager on?
Of course. If I'm making money, that's all I care about. You know, I'm sure Stan Kroenke, when he looks open the paper in the morning, he doesn't look at the Arsenal score. He looks at how much money we've made. That's the only thing he cares about.
Yeah, exactly. So there's your answer. There's your answer, Mems.
It's just a shame that it's come to this because listen, don't get me wrong, guys. I mean. Got so many good memories of Arsene Wenger, and I don't want to sit on this show and slag the man off. I don't want to protest. I don't want to see him handed out. I don't want to see all this hatred going towards him because he loves the club. He does love the club. You can see when we win games, he's giving it all that, and no one wants to see this. But I honestly believe someone at the club, someone please at the club, sit down with him, talk to him, and say to him, Arsene, this has got to stop sooner or later, mate, because the longer you stay, the more damage you're going to do for yourself and your legacy and not potentially for the club as well.
Well, not only that, but also to the fans. Look how divided our fan base is, right? I get abuse daily on Twitter. Every day.
Good.
Claude does, and I know you do. Yeah, good to you as well, yeah? Like, we all get constant abuse on Twitter.
Mems.
Yeah. It's only going to get worse. We're going to end up scrapping again all next season.
Yeah. Go on, Claude. Come in, mate.
Mems, if you're with a beautiful girl, right, and you love her to bits, but she decides she doesn't want you anymore, and it hurts you, doesn't it?
That's never going to happen, Claude.
Carry on, and you'll do every expert to keep it going, wouldn't you? Yeah. But she doesn't want you anymore. You know, this is the situation you're in. You know what I mean? He loves the club. I know he loves the club, and you saw that in the semi-final when we got that when we won it, the final whistle, how much he cared. I've got no doubt about it, but unfortunately, he loves the club too much. He probably loves it too much, so he's making a lot of mistakes, and you can't go on like that, mate.
Do you know what it reminds me of, Claude? Do you know what it reminds me of, Lee? It's like, do you know when someone's got a gambling problem and they're in a casino and they're betting and they're losing and they think, my luck's going to change sometime. I'll keep on going. I'll keep on going. It seems like that to me. It just needs someone to put his arm around him and say, do you know what, mate? Enough's enough.
Give it up.
And that's what it seems. I'm sure if David Dean...
He thinks he's doing a good job.
I honestly believe, in Arsene Wenger's mind, he thinks that he can turn it around. Honestly, I think in his mind...
Well, that's mad. Yeah.
That is the problem. He still thinks. While he still thinks like that, that's where the whole problem... While he thinks he's doing a good job, he's going to carry on.
This is why, gents, that we need someone strong at the club. This is why we need even Gazidis to earn his £2.6 million a year to do his effing job. And that is to make Arsene Wenger accountable for his job. And I know what you're going to say to me, gents. He interviewed him. He got him the job. I know you're going to say that. But he's earning a lot of money at Arsenal, Arsene Wenger, even Gazidis. And he's got to do his job. You know, if the manager's not delivering, make him accountable.
But do you think that Gazidis thinks he is delivering?
His silence is deafening.
See, I go along that. I go along that route. I go along the route. Right? A lot of people dig out Gazidis, right? Gazidis has made us massive off the pitch, which is part of his job. Yeah, a massive part of his job. We're competing off field. Yeah, we're up there with any club in the world off the pitch. Yeah, so Gazidis, in my opinion, has done a good job on that side of things. The only problem I have with Gazidis is the fact that he ain't sitting there digging out Arsene Wenger. He's not come out publicly and said anything. Yeah. And, you know, there's been rumours going about that if Wenger stays, he goes and blah, blah, blah. You know, do they all think, do all these people above him think that he's doing a good job? Or is there a divide? You know, we only hear these rumours come out and we don't know, do we? Yeah, personally, I think Gazidis wants him gone, but he's not going to come out and slate him or say anything bad against him because of the respect he has for him.
Could be right. I think Claude's right as well, though, mate. As long as we're making money, as long as we're finishing top four. I mean, guys, I'm going to ask you something, and I'm going to wrap up the show because you know it's getting quite late. But I want to ask you something. I put out a poll on Twitter, and it said over 7,000 votes, and I asked a question. Arsene Wenger to win the FA Cup or Arsenal to lose the FA Cup against Chelsea and Wenger was to leave. It's had over 7,000 votes and the majority of Arsenal fans to lose the FA Cup final just so Arsene Wenger leaves. Has it got that bad that our fan base want us to lose an FA Cup final just so he leaves?
The minute I
mean, surely...
Mad.
The minute I start feeling like that, the minute I start feeling like that, it's time to stop going football, mate.
I want to win the cup, Mems. Honestly, I've said this before. Yeah, I've said it as soon as we got out. I want to win the cup. Yeah. And if it means he stays for another 2 years, then I'll just have to go on even more.
You'll take it on the chin.
Well, we're just...
it would be nice, wouldn't it, gents? I mean, we're going to wrap up the show, but it would be nice, wouldn't it? Like, come the end of the season, we win the FA Cup, we beat Chelsea, Arsenal lifts at that FA Cup. He goes off in a hero. Everyone gives him, like, you know, the piggy bumps or whatever it's called, and he signs off. Wouldn't that be a fitting tribute just to bow out in that way? Because he deserves that, doesn't he? He deserves to go after everything that he's given. He deserves to go out on a high, doesn't he?
Just out of interest, Mems, what would you have voted?
I asked the questions, Lee.
Mate, those that sit on fence end up with splinters, Mems.
Yeah, I'm sitting with a bit of pain in my backside and it's not hemorrhoids. Okay, Claude, Lee, thank you very much for coming on at short notice. And my apologies to the number of people I couldn't get on.
Great calls, by the way, tonight.
Yeah, there was some good.
There were absolutely brilliant calls, and my apologies to a number of people I couldn't get on. I've had a few technical issues tonight, so the apologies to about, I think, 6 or 7 people I couldn't get on tonight. But absolutely some brilliant calls. Sam was a top call. A caller from Montreal in Canada.
Was the man.
Was the man. Adam and Andrew as well. Some really, really good calls, and especially to you guys coming out at short notice. Claude, absolute legend. I'm glad you got out of White Hart Lane safe. I know Ty went incognito, didn't he, to White Hart Lane? He wasn't even wearing any of it.
Yeah. Ty had the big coat, took his glasses off. He done everything. Yeah, it was completely. and then decided to walk beside Maria on the way home, so he was nice and safe.
Bless him.
Nice one, mate. Good old Ty. I'm glad he's stable. He's an absolute legend. Lee, thank you very much for your passion for coming on tonight. That's absolutely terrible wallpaper, by the way. But thank you very much for coming on.
It's because I ain't got the light on, Mems. I ain't got the light on. That's actually white, not yellow.
I believe you.
Look,
Thanks to the 1,000 people that have watched us live, and considering it's midweek day and considering it's Champions League football, the numbers are really good. So thank you very much for engaging with us. Again, apologies to the people that I haven't managed to get on the show a couple of days. Spurs, to their credit, it kills me to say it, but a better team on the day. Thanks to Peter Cech, it was only 2-0. Where do we go from here? We've got Manchester United this weekend. Hopefully we can get some points and lift a bit of morale, and we can get that FA Cup and for another time as well, and lift that, and hopefully it'll be a fitting time to end everything. But I'm going to end this show now. So thank you very much, Lee. Thank you very much, Claude.
Cheers.
Gentlemen,
cheers,
it's been a
mate.
pleasure. All the best.